This movie really was a recipe for disaster. Disney's 2005 movie, Chicken Little, is one of the studio's most infamous movies, criticized for its poor animation and mean-spirited story and characters. But looking on the bright side, it's far from boring. Love it or hate it, it's hard to deny that Chicken Little is an experience with a creative story, some charming visual gags, and a colorful cast of characters. But which characters slip up more than others? Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Chicken Little Characters, Good to Evil.
Come on, hurry! Hurry!
As usual, we'll be starting with the most pure and noble character and working our way down to the most evil. These characters are the good. To nobody's surprise, Chicken Little takes home the gold medal of good. This entire movie is pretty much a compilation of him getting bullied over a misunderstanding. Chicken Little believes the sky is falling and that a piece of it hit him on the head, so he rings a giant bell to warn the town of impending danger.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
However, when an acorn falls on his head and there's sadly no evidence of his falling sky theory, he's labeled as the crazy chicken, and the town shows him no mercy. But with that being said, Chicken Little is a great kid. He warns the townspeople of impending danger when he believes the sky is falling, and when it turns out that, surprise, surprise, Chicken Little was not mistaken, he remains heroic despite their mistreatment. It turns out the sky was falling, but more specifically, the sky falling was actually aliens invading the planet, thinking that their child was left behind on Earth. Chicken Little is determined to help the baby alien Kirby get back to its parents, effectively calling off the alien attacks on Okie Oaks. He also shows remarkable optimism. He tries his best to assure himself and his father that with just one more chance, he'll show the world he's not crazy. What cements Chicken Little as our gold medalist of good is the lack of any particularly bad character traits. He's an altruistic, well-intentioned kid, and the fact that he still wants any connection with his father and his hometown in general after everything they put him through is evidence that he's really forgiving. In a movie like this, nobody else could possibly deserve the top spot. The silver medal of good goes to Kirby. No, not the pink one who lives in dreamland with King Dedede, the orange one in this movie. This adorable baby alien was left behind by his parents on Earth, leading into the alien invasion which comprised the main conflict of the movie's latter half. Chicken Little helped Kirby get home, risking his neck to get him back to his parents. Kirby repays him by helping to explain to his father that he wasn't harmed, and that Chicken Little and company helped him out, which is what stopped the invasion. Like Chicken Little, he's this high because of a lack of any bad character traits. He's just a poor, scared child who wants to get back to his parents, and thankfully, he was able to. The bronze medal of good goes to Abby Mallard. This girl, nicknamed Ugly Duckling by her schoolmates, is one of Chicken Little's best friends, probably the one he's closest to. Whenever he's in trouble, she's the first to check up on him, and is more or less the ringleader of his support group. She encourages Chicken Little to confront his father over his toxic behavior and talk to him about how he really feels, thus gaining closure. She's a loyal and genuine friend and keeps pushing the issue of seeking closure, as she can see that he's bothered by his father's lack of support, even if he himself rarely acknowledges it until the end of the movie.
Will you two stop messing around and deal with the problem?
If we can say anything bad about her, it would be that she's a bit nosy and pushy with Chicken Little's personal business, likely because of her romantic feelings. But we really can't take many points away for that, since she's always got the best of intentions. And that's it for the good area. We know it's short, but there aren't a lot of nice characters in this movie, so let's see who slipped down to the gray area. Starting off the category is fish out of water. Fish is, what is fish exactly? Sure, he's clearly a walking fish with a diver's helmet, quite true to his name, but we'll be honest, it's hard to say much about him morality-wise. Despite being one of the movie's main characters, Fish is more of a Minions-esque character than an actual character. Acting as the wild card comic relief with no dialogue, he's highly energetic, always goofing around and doing something wacky. Examples include building a tower out of newspapers and climbing it King Kong style, while Runt and Abby try to comfort Chicken Little, cheering as a mascot at his big baseball game, and getting stuck on the spaceship when he rides on the fallen piece of the sky. He's a reliable friend, seeming to care for him as much as his other friends do, and always being around to help. But he's more or less unconcerned most of the time. Whatever might be going on around him, and however serious it is, Fish always has his own hijinks he's more concerned with. This is why we put him in the gray area, but simultaneously, why we don't place him any lower. He might not be a deep pool of wisdom and integrity, but he's a chill guy, and he doesn't have any outright bad traits. Now we have Runt of the Litter. We understand your likely confusion as to why this big, sweet, mild-mannered pig is outside of the good territory. He's a good friend to Chicken Little and company, sticking by him through the awful bullying he faces after the acorn incident. He's the embodiment of a gentle giant, and the worst anyone could say about him on a surface level is that he's kinda cowardly, which, if anything, makes it more impressive that he's always sticking with the ostracized Chicken Little. But there's one scene that calls his morality into question. At the end of the movie, school bully Foxy Loxy returns from the void the alien's victims ended up in, and she's pretty much had her brain scrambled, to the point where she was a hollow shell in a constant state of euphoria. After the aliens said they could turn her back to normal, Runt insisted they keep her this way, saying she's perfect.
No! She's perfect.
Nobody likes a bully, but this is still basically the equivalent of having the choice to heal someone who's been lobotomized and blatantly turning it down to date them. We'll give Run a bit of leeway since he's just a teenager and probably didn't mean any harm, but that's still super creepy. Hopefully he learns from it, because aside from this one moment, he's a total sweetheart. It's a shame we have to put him so much lower for it. Now we have Morcubine Porcupine. Despite his incredibly minor role, we feel like we have to mention him since, for some inexplicable reason, he's on a lot of the marketing material for the movie, despite saying like 3 words the entire 2 hours. We aren't sure if this was some weird inside joke, or it's because this guy is just really dang cool, but we'll go with both, actually. He's a cool guy, really just saying 1 word whenever he shows up on screen, but he also goes along with the rest of the town's bullying of Chicken Little. We'll keep him right here in the middle. Tina and Melvin, and the rest of the aliens by extension, were a bit difficult to place. They're the main antagonist, attacking Okiokes and causing mass panic and destruction, even vaporizing residents temporarily. Yet, they are far from bad people. They're just trying to bring their son Kirby back. When it's revealed that Chicken Little has been keeping Kirby safe with the full intentions to return him to his parents, they find themselves horrified and apologize, and return everything in Okiokes back to the way they were. Well, excluding Foxy, of course. While their intentions were noble and they made up for it, they and their associates still committed mass terrorism and destruction. This was beyond unnecessary, as Okiokes is a small town and they don't have a lot of defenses. They could have just asked if anyone had seen their kid. With all that considered, we can't possibly call them good, but we are willing to call them not quite bad. Next is Turkey Lurkey. Turkey Lurkey is the mayor of Okiokes, but we're honestly not sure why. Most of what he says and does is just reading off of cue cards provided by his cronies, and what he does do of his own volition isn't very impressive. He offers to surrender the town to the alien invaders, offering them the key to his city. He's a coward without any real conviction or leadership skills, or any preparation for disaster, but he's nice enough to offer people a tic-tac, so we'll keep him out of the bad area. And you know what that means, it's time for the dark side. These characters are the bad to evil. Gonna start out the category with Foxy Loxy. She's just mean, and is generally the ringleader of harassment at Okiokes Middle School. She calls Abby Mallard an ugly duckling. Yeah, we were quoting her on that. And ruthlessly hassles Chicken Little, even pouring out a bag of acorns from the school bus to make him trip and fall while he was left behind, desperately trying to keep up.
Ugly duckling.
The best we can say about Foxy is that she seems to at least have some compassion, as she comforts Buck when he's upset over Chicken Little seemingly lying to the town again. Overall, Foxy is bad news, and no, her post-movie lobotomized personality doesn't count. We actually feel pretty bad about that. Now we have Goosey Lucy. It might seem weird for us to call her worse than Foxy, considering that, like we said earlier, Foxy is the ringleader, and by extension, Goosey Lucy is just following her orders. But that doesn't excuse the excessive violence she puts Chicken Little through, and who knows how many other students. Like Foxy, she takes great pleasure in tormenting people. Further still, when Foxy is vaporized by the aliens, Goosey runs away and doesn't show any concern for her. I mean, it's understandable to run away, of course, but come on, show some concern. Foxy at least had some arguably decent qualities, but we can't say that for Goosey, so she's a bit lower. Coach takes home the Bronze Medal of Evil. It's one thing for students to bully each other, but for an adult in charge to encourage it is even worse. That's exactly what Coach does. He splits teams into popular and unpopular kids during dodgeball, and when one of the unpopular kids asks to review safety guidelines, he tells everyone to hit him. As a coach, he's also very discouraging to Chicken Little, and Chicken Little turned out to be pretty good, considering that he actually won the game for the Acorns. Not much else to say. Awful teacher, awful coach, just an awful guy all around. The silver medal of evil goes to Buck Gluck, but man, do we wish we could put him even lower. Buck is the most infamous part of this movie, and probably one of the most infamous characters in Disney history, with some darn good reason. He let his son be treated as a scapegoat on account of the acorn incident.
That's all right. It's fine.
He does not stick up for him at all, instead encouraging him to lay low until things blow over, even a year after the incident. At no point does Buck defend his son, treating him as a burden, an embarrassment, and a disappointment. He always discourages him, telling him to not get his hopes up too high when he starts to join the baseball team, and only shows him any kind of love when he wins the big baseball game. He's one of those parents who makes his child earn his love, but as aggravating as he is, we have to give him slight credit on account of the fact that he does actually apologize to Chicken Little once he's called out on his crappy behavior. It's nice that he's at least making an effort to be a better father, but it's a very, very forced effort, and it's not enough to redeem him for how awful he was over the course of the movie. What's more is that Buck is sticking with and supporting Chicken Little now that he has success in the town's favor. But with how difficult it was for Buck to even pretend he supported his son, we wouldn't be surprised if he bailed again the moment trouble came up. Screw you, Buck. Dude, anybody else craving KFC? And the gold medal of evil goes to pretty much everyone else in Okie Oaks. This entire town is bullying a child over a misunderstanding. From children to grown adults, everyone is always pushing this poor kid around, even a year after the minor event, and nobody sees an issue with it. They make movies about him, call him names, always harass him, and what makes this even worse is that Chicken Little was trying to help them. He thought that the town was in genuine danger, warned them, was ultimately right, and got abused for it. The worst part is that, excluding Buck, nobody even remotely apologizes to him. They just go from hating him to worshiping him as a celebrity. What a bunch of two-faced jerks. No wonder many find this movie way too mean-spirited. For the grand finale, let's give out some medals before they make our list into a Hollywood movie. The Darwin Medal goes to Foxy Loxy. Come on, how did you expect attacking one of the alien robots to go? The Les Medal belongs to Abby Mallard. It's pretty clear that her loyalty to and friendship with Chicken Little is mainly due to her crush on him. The Sloth Medal goes to Mayor Turkey Lurkey for not having enough gumption to publicly speak or act without cue cards. The Wrath Medal goes to the townspeople. It's been a year, you jerks. Get over it already. The Gluttony Medal belongs to Runt for his frequent stress eating habits. Lastly, there's no doubt that the Pride Medal goes to Buck Cluck, who cared more about his own reputation than his son's well-being.